عدنا والعود أحمد، ونستكمل مع عودتنا سلسلة الحوارات المبتكرة في اليوم الثاني والأخير من الكونغرس مع جلسة بعنوان الكتب الصوتية، فتح آفاق السوق في المنطقة العربية. اليوم لم تعد قراءة الكتب مقتصرة على الطريقة التقليدية، بل أصبح الكثير منا يستمع إلى الكتب عوضاً عن قراءتها، فالكتب الصوتية تمتلك سوقاً ينمو بخطى ثابتة. وفي هذه الجلسة نستكشف الطرق التي من شأنها تطوير هذا السوق، ودور الهواتف النقالة في تسهيل الوصول إلى الجمهور الناطق بالعربية حول العالم. ويشارك في هذا الحوار كل من نائبة الرئيس للاستراتيجية العالمية والتطوير المؤسسي في بنغوين راندوم هاوس إيريا ألفاريز، رئيس المحتوى الإقليمي في أوديبل باولو ليمغروباغ، والمؤسس المشارك والمدير العام في شركة رفوف عمار مرداوي. ويدير الحوار مستشار النشر الدولي وسفير الكتب الصوتية لمعرض فرانكفورت للكتاب كارلو كاهينيو، فليتفضلوا.
So, assalamu alaikum, and that's unfortunately all I can go in Arabic. Despite my Egyptian face, I didn't have the privilege to learn this beautiful language. So we're gonna do this panel in English just to make it more fluent and easy. And Amar has agreed to speak English to help us here that don't speak Arabic. But I would like to start by thanking the Arabic Language Center and His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Tamim for his vision for the center and for allowing us to be here and having this panel on audiobooks. Also, another housekeeping, you can ask questions. Please ask questions and I'll try at the end of the conversation to cover all the questions you have. So for some context, we're here to talk about the potential of audiobooks in the MENA region. And for some context, I got some data from Arab Bookverse, which is this Egyptian aggregator and a hub for the development of digital audiobooks in the region. And we have today 12,500 audiobooks in Arabic, which is good for something that has started in the recent years. However, 70% are kind of locked in just one company, and 72% come from Egypt and Lebanon only, so we still have a lot of work to do in the other countries and with other companies. Also, the market since 2019 to 2024 grew around 8 times, but it's still only around $2 million, a little bit more than that per year for the whole industry. So that's the context I would like to have here and talk, and how to develop this and to keep growing, but growing faster, and how to achieve that. So I'll just allow you to introduce yourselves and to tell you who you are, what you do, and what is your company. So Iria, maybe we can start with you.
So thanks to the organizers for having me. It's a pleasure to be here to explore opportunities in the Arabic world for audio. My name is Iria. I work at Penguin Random House. I'm a 20-year publishing veteran. Of those 20 years, 10 I've been dedicated to audio-related projects. First, leading the development of the Spanish-speaking audiobook program for PRH. Then I joined the global strategy team, where I helped my colleagues further their efforts in audio. And most recently, I've joined in a newly created position in the audio department as global audio strategy. Penguin Random House is the most experienced audio publisher in the world. I'm proud to say that. We have 250 dedicated employees. We have a catalog of 50,000 titles. And this year, we've produced almost 5,000 titles, and that's what we do every year. We have the best producers in the world, and we have some award-winning audiobooks like My Name is Barbara, that's been named the best audiobook in the US by the Audio Publisher Associations. We operate in 20 countries. We have 32 in-house studios. They are based all over the world, from New York, Los Angeles, Madrid, Barcelona, Mexico, Buenos Aires, Toronto, and Sydney. And we've recently renovated our studios in Los Angeles and New York, and we consider those best in class, and we now have studios with offices rather than offices with studios. And we'd love to explore opportunities in the Arabic world.
So, Paulo, and yesterday, His Excellency Mohammed Khalifa Al-Murabak announced that there is a new partnership with Amazon, which Audible is part of, and made everyone curious about this partnership. So maybe you can tell a little bit more, just for our curiosity.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I would like to thank the Arabic Language Center of Abu Dhabi for inviting me to be on this panel with this great panelist. Audiobook is really, I've been an audiobook listener since 2010, and I have been at Audible for over 10 years. So during that time, I launched Audible in Japan, in India, in Spain, in Brazil, and more recently in Mexico. So, and during this discussion, I'll talk a lot about the similarities that I see between those countries and the Arabic audiobook market segment as well. And my current responsibility is really focused on Latin America and what we call rest of the world. Those are countries where Audible is still not established yet. So Audible is the largest producer and provider of audiobooks in the world. The company was founded in 1995 and was acquired by Amazon in 2008, but it's still operated as an independent company. When Audible was launched, digital audio was very nascent. So in order to become an Audible member, you had to buy a hardware that we produce so people could listen to an audiobook. So we have come a long way. And it's really interesting that in the past 10 years, our business, our membership, has grown almost 800%. So for the past 10 years since I've been at Audible, our business has grown almost 8 times, which is really exciting. And 2024 was one of our best years ever. And it's also exciting that the younger demographic is using our service more and more. The fastest growing segment of our audience is the 18 to 34 audience. Speaking specifically about the Arabic book market, and I am a little bit jet-lagged, so I just came in from New York. So, I think there's an opportunity here because compared to some of the other language, we still have a relatively small catalog. So I think there's an opportunity to really build a comprehensive offering for customers who speak Arabic. And that's something that we're trying to do with this partnership with the Arabic Language Center to really drive engagement and discovery of both ebooks and audiobooks on Amazon and through Audible as well.
Thank you, Paulo. Amar, can you tell us something about Rufuf? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ammar Mardawi. I'm the CEO of Rufuf. For the past decade and a half, I've been obsessed with one question. How do we make Arabic culture and knowledge more accessible? That journey took me from building the first Arabic ebook store with Rufuf back in 2011 to building and launching Jarir Reader with collaboration with Jarir Bookstore, and then leading the launch of Storytel Arabia. Throughout those phases, I've watched Arabic book consumers discover and enjoy and adapt new ways to enjoy books. At Rufuf, our mission is simple. Remove a friction between people and the stories, the culture, and the knowledge that shape their lives. And audiobooks is a natural extension to that mission. I think of audiobooks that they bring in people who otherwise wouldn't have the time, energy, or habit to sit down and read. It gives the professionals, busy professionals, a way to keep learning, and young people a reason to fall in love with books. I don't think of audiobooks as a new medium or just a new file format. To me, it's a new gateway to culture and knowledge. And in the middle of that gateway in our region stands the Arabic language. It's one of the largest languages in the world, among the top 5. and it's both beautiful and tricky. It's poetic, it has rhythm, but a slight change in a soft vowel can completely destroy a sentence. And that's why quality in audio, in Arabic especially, is very important. It's not just cosmetic, but it's crucial to the language. Getting quality right is one part of the challenge. The other challenge is understanding the different reasons that drive people to audiobooks. And I believe to cater to these reasons, we need to understand or think of audiobooks in two different complementary roles. The first role is cultural, with artistic literary titles that enrich our language and conserves our heritage. Those titles require very careful casting and direction, and they must sit at the heart of our catalog. The other role is the commercial role, with accessible and entertaining titles such as self-help and self-development nonfiction titles, or thrillers, romance, and other novels that make us look forward to the drive home. Those titles that drive reach and engagement and building the habit. Both roles are complementary to each other in a sense that they strengthen each other and compound together. So in short, our vision at Rufuf is simple, is practical and optimistic. We believe the Arabic audiobook market is still a pre-tipping point with a lot of ground to cover. We believe that audiobooks will in no way replace print. It will expand the pie. And by bringing in people who otherwise we wouldn't be able to reach as places and times that we couldn't have, we are not only building and expanding an industry, we're building a culture of listening that is worthy of the beautiful and sometimes tricky Arabic language. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. I'd really like you to talk about, you can applaud, about access. As the father of a kid who has ADHD and dyslexia, I think that's another important thing in access for audiobooks for people with determination. This kid today is probably a Ferrari word now, doing some crazy stuff there, but he only reads, he can read, it's very hard for him, and he listens to audiobooks, so that's interesting. But moving on, how do you create a new market? So, Paulo, you've just mentioned you've been in Japan, and you've been in Audible for several years, so Audible started the audiobook thing in the world. But now, today, in 2025, how can we build a new market? Is it the same? What are the lessons learned, in your opinion? And then I'll move to the other ones.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I think I'll give the example of Brazil, which I think has a lot of. I was born in Brazil, and I live in the U.S., but I think Brazil has a lot of the Brazilian market has a lot of similarities with the Arabic market as well. Before we launch in any new country, we do a lot of customer research to really understand what are the interests and tastes of the audience in that country. So in Brazil, what we found was early on, very limited number of titles in Portuguese, very limited awareness of the audiobook format. People don't know what an audiobook is or was, so they're very challenging. However, we did see strong adoption of podcasts, very similar to here. In Brazil, Brazil is the #1 country in the world after China and the US in terms of number of podcast listeners. And I understand, given there's some YouGov data that shows that over half of the adults in the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt listen to a podcast every week. So, so I think the market segment here is ripe for audiobooks. We need to bring that audiobook audience, that podcast audience over to audiobooks. So what we did, to address the first challenge regarding production, we work very closely with authors and with the publishers to really produce a lot of titles in Brazil and build the content offering. I think the worst thing that could happen is, you launch a service in a country and you have a limited catalog, so a customer comes to try your service and they're looking for that specific title and they can't find, and they're looking for another one and they can't find. So we really need to have a comprehensive offering, so when customers try an audiobook service, they can find their first listen, and hopefully they'll have a great experience and they will come back and get used to the format. So on the marketing side, creating awareness, of course, Audible being an Amazon company, we take advantage of a lot of the audience. Amazon is the #1 bookstore, online bookstore in Brazil, so a lot of that audience were able to expose them to Audible and to the audiobooks. But we work, for example, in addition to invest significantly in marketing, in paid media, we worked with the publishers, for example, in doing celebrity narration of the top titles. And we worked with influencers. We worked with top podcasters doing narrations as well as creating original content to really get the audience to try the audiobook format. So in summary, you have to work on all these levers to make the service successful. But what I can tell you today, that Brazil is the fastest growing marketplace of Audible today. We have seen tremendous growth. We launched in October of 2023, and so we're going to have our second anniversary next month. And I'm really excited about the future of Audible in Brazil, but also here, because I see, we're in a kind of similar stage as a nascent marketplace.
This is great to hear. Since that little boy mentioned is Brazilian, he needs to listen to Portuguese audiobooks as well. Iria, Penguin Random House has a history of developing the Spanish markets, the Spanish language markets, and now you're actually investing a lot in Brazil as well. Are there any parallels you can see, or what are the lessons learned? Amazon is the retailer, of course, but you are the publisher from the publishing point of view.
Yeah, so talking about Brazil, maybe I share the same enthusiasm and see the same parallelisms in the market, the Brazilian market and the Arabic-speaking market. In addition to what Paulo said, I think that in Brazil, there is limited bookstore presence, but high smartphone penetration. The catalog is still limited, but we are investing heavily to increase our title count. We have a catalog of 600 titles. We're planning on adding 3,000 titles over the next 5 years. And in addition to what Paulo said, I think that we have a big focus on high-quality production, because we really want the listeners to get the best experience ever. This is especially important in the nascent market, where if people have a bad experience with the first audiobook, they won't blame that title specifically. They would blame the whole category, and they will get away from it. So the focus on quality is key. In Spain, for instance, we always work with narrators, but we have a director that is present in the recording of every audiobook. And other things that we have been doing is create our own production teams, negotiate the rights, that's key, try to keep your rights as much as possible. So those are some of the learnings.
Great, and coming back to Arabic language, Omar, 8 years ago, you were at Storytel Arabia, started building the first catalogs of Arabic. What has changed, and is it different now? Is it the same challenge? Is the market more open?
Yeah, a lot have changed, actually. So back in 2018, at Storytel, the playbook was to define the category, still educating people about what audiobooks are. I remember coming to Abu Dhabi Book Fair and having those booths everywhere with the headphones and seeing the faces of young people trying audiobooks for the first time. I think today that's completely different. People are exposed to podcasts specifically. They've built the habit of audio entertainment in general. The other thing that have changed drastically is the access to online payments. Maybe not in the UAE. UAE is always ahead in all the things digital, but in the region as a whole, after COVID, online payment became the norm in the region, and that's a huge tailwind for any online service, as well as being accustomed to a monthly subscription business model, specifically with the likes like Yashhad and Anghami and the many online services that most people subscribe to these days. Those things were unheard of back in 2018. They were not the norm. So that's on one part. The other thing is, as you mentioned at the beginning, and as I said at the beginning, that we are a pre-tipping point with about 12,500 titles produced in Arabic. Now that number is not exactly, like I wouldn't say it's representative of, to make a comparison of how far along are we. I think it's a bit inflated with short series and short form titles. If we actually want to look at it, I would take your point, Paulo. What is the percentage of titles that people would find in audio versus the percentage of titles that are being searched for? That would be a much better comparative to look at how far along are we in terms of crossing the tipping point. So things are a lot different in terms of, also another thing I want to add is that at the beginning in 2017 even, we started by training narrators and building the infrastructure for producing audiobooks. Today, there are many studios across the region and a big talent pool of narrators that are ready and eager to start producing audiobooks in scale. So I think the playbook completely changed from creating a category through everything, and today to scaling from day one, localizing and scaling from day one. So it's very different.
But what is the challenge today to go even faster building a catalog? Are costs of production still a big challenge, you'd say, or?
I think when it comes to cost, it's a challenge everywhere. Like it's not something specific to the Arabic region or the MENA region. The cost depends on the quality bar that we set for titles. And as I said at the beginning, quality is especially important in Arabic as it could completely destroy the meaning of the text. So to be truly honest for the text and for the creator, we need to raise the bar for quality in Arabic in general. Now with AI being available and using AI to do production, we've been experimenting with AI since 2021 and in many different ways. For a complete replacement for production, I don't think it's there yet. To get the quality good enough for humans to pass the human bar, it takes a lot of time and effort to do audiobooks using AI in Arabic specifically, to a point where it's easier and more cost effective to do it in studio. So I think the challenge today is building the catalog to a tipping point where we log into a service, and if I search for a first title, I might not find it, but at least I'm more likely to find my second title.
Cool. So you mentioned AI voices, and yesterday you had a great discussion between Mo Amer and Mo Gaudat about AI and about AI having emotions and spirituality. So a question for all of you: can we record audiobooks that are going to be emotional enough with AI?
Well, first I think AI is here to stay, correct? So at Audible, we have this vision that we want to have every book in every language, which I think is very ambitious. But we see AI as complementary to human narration. I just want to make sure the core of our DNA is having human narration for premium content. But I'll give you some data that I think puts things into perspective. There are about 150 million books in print. This is the data from ChatGPT and Google Gemini. They don't agree, but it's somewhere between 130 to 150 million books in print today. However, when you look at the number of audiobooks, there are about a little over 1 million audiobooks available today in all languages. So there's a huge gap between titles that are being recorded today in audiobooks and the potential of titles that could be available in audiobooks, let's say 150 million. So AI can definitely fill that gap. And at Audible, we have been investing over the past several years to have text-to-speech, AI narration, but we continue to focus on premium narration. And I do see a future where all the premium titles will continue to have that human narration, that personal touch, and you also have the ability to record with AI. And I think for Arabic and other languages where there's a big challenge in terms, it's very expensive to produce an audiobook, not only in Arabic, but in all languages. So being able to invest, to use AI to bridge that gap, I think it's really important. We also have been investing in, and we'll share some more detail in the coming months, on AI translation, where you'll be able to, either through text-to-text or speech-to-speech, to be able to translate the titles. So I can see in a world where you can still preserve the voice of the original narrator, because I think the narrator is key to the ecosystem here, and be able to have a title available in multiple languages, whether it's a title from an English or American author available in Arabic, or from an Arabic author available to the English language market. So I think it's really an exciting opportunity. But we're not, even the US, we're still in the early days in terms of AI. But I do believe that's the future. And I think, as the technology improves, you'll be able to have some of that emotion that you're referring to. But again, it's time, it's a lot of investment in technology that needs to take place.
Thank you. Iria, please, what's your take on AI voices from the publisher's point of view?
Yeah, so AI voice technology is definitely developing very fast, but from our perspective, the output, the quality varies a lot across languages. And we are watching these technologies very closely, but we are currently not producing titles with AI voice. We believe that audio is a big business, but it's also a creative endeavor. And our mandate is to have really strong and meaningful collaboration with our authors and narrator talent. What we are using AI for, AI-enabled tools, is for improving our processes and for becoming more efficient. So we are using AI in pre-production and post-production, either for transcribing the audiobook recordings, for pickups, for proofing, and that's where we are finding really, really interesting use cases. And there are lots of titles being produced with AI, but still the majority of the titles that are listened are produced traditionally by narrators. And our main principle when we think about AI is always start with a human and end with a human. And we are also really committed to transparency and making sure that consumers are aware of the use of AI. The UK and US have created some labeling conventions, and we are encouraging other markets to adopt them.
Yeah, and I think it's a great point that you mentioned here regarding, it's very important that the customer, before acquiring a title, he or she knows that that title has been recorded with AI. So we clearly label every title which has been AI recorded, that has been AI recorded, so the customer knows what kind of product they are acquiring.
Cool. And Amar, you had mentioned during breakfast today, and that was very learning experience to me, that Arabic for AI recording can be even a little bit more complicated because of the vowels. So I think if you can...
So, what I wanted to say at the beginning, that today producing an Arabic audiobook as AI narration, it's a very time-intensive and effort-intensive process, so we can get the quality right, so we can get good enough quality audiobook that is worthy for people to listen in. Because as you said, also Paulo, if people have a bad experience with audiobooks, especially if they're not accustomed to this type of way of consuming books, they might never come back. The other thing is that we can also, it's not like all or nothing. We use AI during different phases of production, pre-production and post-production, with the QA and with sound engineering and editing. But also I look at AI and I see opportunities to further take forward the format. So one thing we're experimenting with in Rufuf is where you have an audiobook and you're listening to it, and at some point you can ask the narrator, and then the AI takes over and has a conversation with you in the voice of the narrator. Another big thing that we're very excited to use AI now today is with voice cloning, where we clone voices of authors. And sometimes we do AI narration with the voice of the author. And in other times, we actually do a full studio production with a narrator and do a voice replacement between the voice of the narrator and the author, or someone who is better suited to be, that people will feel more connected to their voice. So there are many opportunities to use AI. Maybe today, as a full AI narrator for Arabic, we'll definitely get there. We're not there today. I'm not saying it's not suitable, but as of today, we're not there for full AI production and narration, but there are many places for AI to enrich the experience with audiobooks.
Thank you. I'll move to two questions from the audience, more than two. It's about collaboration, how to get their novels or the production, their content owners asking here. So for instance, how can we approach Audible and Rufuf to have our books there, even in a full cast production? Another one, do Penguin Random House and Audible collaborate on audiobook production? So again, I think the cost thing is an issue. So maybe you can comment.
Sure.
If I am an author or a publisher and I want to get into that, but the cost is a little bit, it scares me, what can I do?
Yeah, so at Audible, we basically work in two models. The first one is just a simple distribution model where the publisher has already produced the audio, and we're happy to distribute it. And as the title is available on Audible, it's also available on any of our stores throughout the world, as well as on Amazon. And in terms of the other model, which we call a license and distribution, a production model, we work where Audible funds the production for the publisher. And there is a limited exclusivity period, but that title is 100% funded, the production by Audible. And we work in this model all over the world, from Japan to Australia. That's the two models that we work on. But I'm here. I'm happy to stay here after the panel if anyone wants to talk about, how they can get their titles on Audible. Very happy to discuss with you.
Also, just complimenting Paulo, someone says here that he doesn't see yet the Arabic market under a category in Audible. So maybe he suggests you take advantage and launch the whole Arabic.
Yeah, so definitely. That's something we're discussing. A couple of things. We're in early stages in the process of building our Arabic language catalog, and we have made significant progress in the past years. And you see more of the Audible team here in the region in the future. And we're also working at the moment in having a bespoke offering for the Arabic market segment, where you not only have a comprehensive offering in terms of titles, but also a complete interface in Arabic, the complete CX, and the ability to pay in local currency and local pricing as well.
Okay, thank you. Iria, there is a question here for you. Since there is a big appetite for publishing, if you already have a regional office in Abu Dhabi, maybe not, but maybe you can tell about you are looking for partners in the region, so maybe.
So we do not have an office, unfortunately, but we are looking forward to establishing partnerships with publishers in Arabic to grow the audio catalog overall. As we were mentioning, catalog availability is key. We want consumers to find the titles that they need to keep them in the loop and to enrich the whole ecosystem. So we are super open of exploring licensing opportunities together with publishers. We are we've shown in the past that we are strong collaborators and partners. We have the publishing expertise. We have recording studios all over the world. Like when you think about producing your titles, you don't have to be focused on the country of origin. You have to think about the global reach and the diaspora that is out there. And we do have the studio capabilities as well, and really looking forward to working with publishers here to grow, to provide audio growth.
Okay, there's a very interesting question here. How do you see the relationship between audiobooks and e-books and print books? Are they complementary formats, or they're competing for the same reader's time? So are they competing or complementing each other?
I think they're complementary to each other, and we have some data, internal data that I can share here. That we did some research with a third party, and 79% of our customers in the past year have also acquired books and print books and e-books. So it's very clear there's no cannibalization. You see that people who listen to audiobooks tend to buy more books, whether in the print format or ebooks. We also have an offering, for example, in English called Whisper Sync for Voice, where, for example, you can start on your Kindle, and then you can continue. Let's say you're reading a book at home, and you're going to commute to work, and you can pick up exactly where you left on your Kindle on your audiobook. So it synchronized the ebook with the audiobook, really offering the customer the ability to consume the book in both formats. I think the audiobook, because it doesn't require your eyes to be busy, correct? You can consume an audiobook while you're commuting to work, or you're working out at the gym, or you're cooking, or listening to an audiobook on Alexa. There's so many more options. And I think, the most precious commodity for all of us today is time. And I think sometimes you just want to be off screen. And I think the audiobook gives you that experience to consume the book, whether for leisure or for learning something.
Yeah, and I think it's especially complementary in our region and in Arabic, given that the many challenges that the print book faces in our region, whether from distribution or from people habit of sitting down and reading. I believe that audiobooks are bringing in way more people to the habit of consuming books. And that's something I've experienced at Storytel, and I still experience today at Rufuf, where we can see that people first come in and they go to commercial titles that I was referring for at the beginning. They go to self-help or to the easy and small, short novels. And then they build the habit of consuming books and they move to the cultural works. Now, I believe that type of awareness that we're spreading is not only getting people to audiobooks, but also spreading awareness to books in general. So it is especially complementary for Arabic.
Great, and Paulo just said that time is precious, we're running out of time. But before we go, what would be your final advice, something you could tell the Arabic content owners, writers, or publishers? What would be your advice concerning making the potential of audiobooks a reality for the three of you?
So if I start, I think that we touch on this like several times throughout this talk, but catalog availability is key. So, and it takes time to build a catalog. For the Spanish division of Penguin Random House, it took about 10 years to build a catalog of 6,000 titles. So start now and focus on high quality products. That would be my other recommendation. And finally, I think that data availability, market data availability is key. And just being able of what titles were best in which market, like what are the genres and that work better is super important. So if there are trade associations or it would be great to put together some numbers for the whole industry.
Well, I want to say that I'm very, very bullish about audiobooks in Arabic. And very briefly, I will give another country as an example, very similar to here. I know Japan is very different from Brazil and the Arabic country, but when we launched in Japan 10 years ago, the word audiobook did not exist. So we were coming, and there were like no titles in audio. So we've come a long way, and today Japan is our second, fastest growing marketplace. So the opportunity is here. We already know that people are listening to podcasts. We know that there are ways for us to work on the production side. I think AI is the next phase here that also support to build a larger catalog. So it's all coming together. So I'm very bullish about it. In terms of specific advice, some of the things that I would say, if you have titles that you're a publishing company, really focus on your best-selling titles first, because producing an audiobook is expensive because you want to have a high-quality narration. It's a one-time investment, but an audiobook has a long shelf. So it's key that finding the right studio, the right narrator that has the right match with the book is key. And if you feel like it's challenging on the production side, on the cost, companies like Audible can help fund that production.
Thank you, Paul.
I just want to add one thing to that. I know our time is up. Is not only produce, but also distribute. Make your audiobooks available on as many platforms as possible, because building the habit and building the culture of listening is the biggest challenge that is today.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gracias, Iria. Obrigado, Paulo. Shukran.
Shukran.
Amar.
Shukran.
Thank you very much. Shukran.